I understand your trepidation. But I believe in Amara, and I believe Davian does as well. Her behavior is due to the fact that she hasn't been getting the support that she's needed.
Yes.
She's not the one that needed support.
To say that. She left everything behind, went to a foreign country. Though it may not look like it, Amara has sacrificed not only that, she's been on her own for most of her life. And as soon as she now has family in her life, they send her off to a new. She needs support just as much as anyone. I'm not saying that there aren't people that need support here, but that doesn't need it too.
Blood doesn't make family. You and I both know that.
I do.
Instead of supporting and being there for her friend, she immediately went to passive-aggressive with her and venomous. That's not fair to Rinzu, and you know it.
It isn't. But how has Rinzu responded to that?
From what I understand, Rinzu tried multiple times to talk to her.
About what exactly?
You'll understand if I didn't actually press her for between the two of them. It's not my place.
And yet, all Amara had to know about that situation before she went to attack was what Rinzu had told her.
And Westland nearly died and gave up everything. He doesn't even think he's even close. He did.
And does Amara know that?
Judging from the fact she made comments about him just breaking his legs very loudly.
That doesn't necessarily know what means that she knows what the extent to what he's given up. She's just going off of ultimately she told Moses nobody is listening to her. And so she's
not listening to anyone either, though. That's the other problem. 2 ways, and she wants it one. She can't expect people to listen to her, but not have to listen.
Then I told her to talk to Rinzu about it. And hopefully that listen. And if it doesn't, will act accordingly. But I ultimately have faith that.
Then I guess we'll see what happens.
That said, Davian, do you mind if you leave the room? I have something to discuss with Connor privately.
He just raises his hands and just walks back behind the door. Don't mind me.
That being said, I delivered your letter. His response to me was, he doesn't believe meeting with you would accomplish anything, but he will meet with Cecil. That said, if you have any concerns about him or wish to have a message deliver him in any way, you can speak to me about it, and I will deliver it just as I have in the past.
Yeah, it doesn't seem he cares what I have to say, so I'm not gonna bother.
And additionally, if you have any business to deal with the council, you can also go through me. I've gotten about 3 of it, and I intend to make that number grow. That said, I understand your trepidation in dealing with the council, and it's actually probably for the best that you don't deal with him directly anyway. Doing so gives you plausible deniability.
That's not a comforting statement, Austromeria.
I doubt the only way he'll be discovered is if you say something on the matter. That said, do you want anything out of this? What do you want to accomplish in all this? What would you want to tell him if you were talking with him instead of me?
I'm not interested in talking to a wall, Austromeria.
I'm not a wall. Ultimately, I don't have the most sway, but I do have some sway with him. Meeting with him is out of the question. Revealing what he is out of the question. Though if you want to just leave things as they are, then fine.
I have enough problems to deal with. I don't need to be fighting just to be heard by one person.
Fair enough. Suppose we'll leave it at that then.
Is there anything else then?
Nothing, actually. I believe that was everything.
I guess we need to figure out what we're actually doing.
Indeed. That said, I think I might take some time to... We were able to get some information out of that mercenary, and I intend to go out tonight and get him onto a boat and out of Legala. I'm going to talk to some council people for that. And with that, I'll see what other information I can get from the people that have been keeping an eye out on things. Perhaps I can get us some additional information.
Is there anything I can even be doing right now, or am I just gonna be waiting until we figure out what move we're making?
There's the team building exercises that
Pass.
undoubtedly have started by this. It's the job of a leader to participate, Connor.
I'm Henry.
Not here, you're not. Everyone here knows who you are. Everyone in this group knows who you are. I'll be participating along with everybody else. And as soon as one person steps out, other people step out, and it goes on and on, and then we're in an argument.
This is hardly fair. Our grandfather doesn't have to participate.
I think he has special circumstances, but I also think that you can find some way to help him participate.
Trust fall with a book.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd enjoy that. And I'm sure it'd confuse everybody else.
I think you could only enjoy the fact that people are confused more.
Exactly.
We definitely all have the same sense of humor.
One of the few things we share. No, actually, we share quite a bit.
No, we're basically the same people.
Except you are significantly more moral than I am.
I don't know where I got that from.
I could say something mean, but...
Well, now you have to.
Growing up with upstanding individuals. That said, I had Davian, so I guess that doesn't excuse me. But again, it is what it is. Let's head back to the group.
And so you guys head back. At least one time as you guys were in there, Rinzu. Wesleyan, I imagine you guys like busted into some rations to like get some food in you. And at least at one point, Amara like got Wesleyan's attention and was like, catch, and she tosses like a loaf of like a small little like hard roll at him, and Wesleyan comically like tries to go for it but like juggles it for a second before he actually catches it, and Amara just kind of snickers. But like it was just a toss. Like it wasn't like pelting it at him or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all there is to it. She just kind of laughs and she takes a bite of it, of like food that she's got. And that's like the most that she does, but she doesn't harass him. But she also has not talked yet. and we're gonna go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break during this part. I have to.
Oh my god, Amara, don't throw food. It could have landed on the ground. That would have been such a fucking waste.
I can't believe you fucking kicked me.
Oh my god.
Also, fix Fred boat first before your ears get blown out again.
Oh god.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I can't because he's not in the channel right now.
Here.
Do it from the people menu on the right,
There we go.
or that.
Bring him in, folks. Bring
Yeah,
in
no,
the
I fixed
bitch.
I fixed.
Bring forth Fred.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
All
I
right.
think.
You
I
got
think
this.
So after some low energy team building exercises, we're not like doing 3-leg races or anything.
Oh God, no. In this room?
But
I don't think people could keep up with me anyway.
But I would, as the day goes on, I would give Amara looks if she hasn't. Like, as time passes, more looks would happen, like a gradual slope.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nothing yet.
Yeah.
Nothing yet. But yeah, as this is kind of going, you guys recover for a bit, and you guys can make another discipline or cool check to recover strain from
Make it gone.
from the course of
Get-
this.
Be gone, strain.
What
yeah.
the fuck?
Get the fuck
Huh,
out of
Womp.
strain. I am.
How many can I do with that or none?
That's 2.
Okay, that's exactly how much I have.
Hey, neat.
Nice.
Wait, we got to do one before?
Yeah.
Oh.
Technically, we've done 3.
It's.
I have done none!
Oh my God.
So you guys spend the afternoon here. So I guess now the question is, what is your guys' plans for the evening?
I think everyone's going for the.
We're gonna go
espionage.
spying.
I think we should probably keep it to like the sneakier characters.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, yeah, I can't do much here.
I
You
would
guys will have
say
some time
have people
before that.
nearby
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
we're gonna
case
be
things go to
nearby.
shit.
And then,
Like probably go to a tavern nearby to like kind of.
so are you guys meeting with Julius Blackwild? Is that happening tomorrow then? Provided plans don't change, or this is just Eric asking
Probably.
to coordinate the plan.
I don't think we actually have anything set.
If we
Or
don't
are you
hear
not sure yet?
anything about the mercenaries, I say we probably do like scope out his house at least,
Hmm.
and honestly, like kind of. I mean, do we want to just show up at his door, or
Sup, bitch.
Probably not all of us.
No, no.
No, not all.
also if we're getting in contact with the vet, maybe getting a message to him,
I can.
setting up a
Mhm.
meeting.
That, I know a thing.
Yeah,
He told me things.
yeah.
So we'll leave that to you then.
I can also help with that. But I would also probably prefer to rest right now.
That's actually fair. Yeah.
Take a nap.
So
Yeah.
you guys
leave
do
it
have-
to non-strenuous activity.
you guys do have some time for that evening to before night falls, because the meeting was supposed to happen at midnight.
Mhm.
So you guys could feasibly do something to, if you guys wanted to, during the day, or like during the daylight rather.
I mean, how far is Julius's house?
It's about a 3-hour trek.
Mm.
Like provided that that you guys have Warren with you.
Okay. Shit.
Yeah, it's a little bit away from the city itself.
And he's not in the city, is he?
No.
Who
Not. Yeah, Julius.
no, he's
No.
about 3 hours away from the city.
Not to mention, didn't they also say that some of the Blackwatch people were camped out in the woods?
Yes.
Hmm.
So we'd probably have to circle around them, which would probably cut into even more time.
True, though hopefully Warren would be able to keep a wide berth from them. If
Cautiously
if you guys were
speaking,
able to them.
hopefully it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Honestly,
you
the
could
Julius
start-
thing, we'll have to make a day of it,
Mhm.
and
Good.
probably tomorrow is the best day to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We could always do that rally today before the midnight game.
I thought we were going to tell people that, oh, it's going to be happening in so and so.
I don't fucking know.
That's actually still a good idea.
Yeah,
because
we could set like. What's the best time to set up a rally?
Usually
Like,
you need
What's the general
you
time?
need at least a day or two to kind of make sure that this information gets circulated. Start circulating that information tonight.
Yeah.
Let's get the flyers ready.
And so basically our timetable is Julius tomorrow and the rally the day after tomorrow.
Yes.
Mhm.
And just keeping things loose. Bees could show up at any time.
Yeah.
But honestly, tomorrow is the safest day to meet Julius because we would not be in time if the mercenaries arrived. And the longer
Speaking
that we go without,
Speaking of the mercenaries, I was doing a little thinking and talking with Eric, and my the crest that I hold has a lot more clout than I originally thought it did. And basically, no matter what, it is from the emperors, and it is overruling contractual obligations. So we do have that.
Perfect.
Ooh,
Negotiations then.
that's fancy.
And then we can do that. Set up.
Wee woo, Emperor Police.
We do have
Today.
that.
All right. So for tonight, there's going to be some people who are going to be spreading the word for this rally, and there's going to be somebody's were you contacting Vet? You said, Rinsu,
Sure.
because you mentioned that because you'd be able to do that.
Yes. I know
Um,
that was said.
Yeah.
That should probably happen.
And
since
then-
they're doing things.
Yeah.
And,
And
we
then-
probably have people protecting you.
Oh, definitely.
And then at night, you guys were
I'm a
talking
sneak.
about trying to see if you can't figure out anything at that inn
Sneak.
or that tavern rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably Hiei, but with us nearby.
Mhm. Okay.
And probably like God, what's a good way to signal people from a far away? Probably like a whistle or something. If things go bad.
You also can't. You should just shoot light into the air.
I mean, he is not magic.
Question for you, Eric.
Oh, right.
Yes.
There's still plenty of time during the day today, right? Like
yeah, there's
before
still time.
things actually have to happen.
Mhm.
Is there any way that I can fashion one of my arrows to be like a whistling arrow
Oh
by any
yeah.
chance?
Yeah, you'd be able to do that.
Alternatively, like somebody can also just rig it up with
A flare.
really simple enchantment for like a flare or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like between those signals, you'd be able to have something. Pretty much whatever you would prefer.
Or you could do both.
Yeah,
A flare.
Both
and
works.
whistle.
a whistling
Like,
flare.
So
Wee,
sound,
woo, wee.
like sound and like a visible signal to like cover everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I imagine if you didn't know how to do that yourself, I imagine Warren knows too. So between
Yeah.
one of the two of you guys, you'd be able to very easily do that.
So I just added into my inventory a contingency arrow just so I can remember that I have one.
Yeah. And so yeah, so we got that. As far as like the actual spreading the word about this thing, I'll have you guys make just one check for that for everybody who's
All
going.
right, what's it gonna be?
We'll make it against just one difficulty. And then whatever you think is a fitting way for you to be telling people, either a social check, a resilience check to see how quickly you can get flyers like spread out around places, because you guys definitely have access to a printing press.
Okay.
So basically, come up with a way that you can help and tell me, and we'll make a check based off of whatever skill, as long as you can kind of piece two things together.
Fair enough. One difficulty.
Yes.
Boom.
And that's just, I'm guessing, from you telling people, right?
Yeah, it's telling people.
Okay. So yeah, for sure, yeah, you'd be able to get some word out on that. I'll write some of this down. Dude, okay. Yeah, you're working on the contingencies. Probably also scoping the area out, so you'll kind of have a good feeling about the actual area itself. Rinzu, you're gonna go talk to people. Alster, you're resting, and Connor.
Well, what's actually available to do?
Well, you could do any of those aforementioned things. You could help Davian spread word about the thing. You could do whatever you want. If there's anything else you can think of.
I'll probably just go help Davian.
Yeah, you could actually talk to the Blood of Legala people here.
No, I can't.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's being secrety. But yeah, either way, you can go ahead and make some kind of check. You could honestly probably try and work with the printing presses if you did. It's up to you, really. Or the spinning jennies you love so much. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think you know what a spinning jenny does.
I'm just kidding. Go to make a knowledge education check against 1 difficulty. That. Basically, just like using your knowledge of like traffic and stuff to kind of figure out the best places to put flyers and to call people out. Cool. All right. All right. So yeah, you guys start getting some word out about that, and people will start being able to spread that information and such. And so that leaves Rinzu. You wanted to go and try and track down a vet, correct?
Yeah.
What can I have you make a I'm gonna have you make a streetwise check against 2 difficulty with a boost dice. And I think Melody will probably come with you just to make sure that
Yeah,
you
I was
don't
gonna-
get yourself ambushed.
Somebody come with me.
discreet. She's discreet enough.
Actually,
so-
I might honestly go with her too.
And honestly, probably, unless Warren was already doing something.
Yeah, I mean, you
Like,
could have some extra
'cause-
people going too, yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to do that instead, that's fine.
I feel like Warren has talked with the Corvids in the city before.
Most
too.
likely. In that case, you can, yeah. Oh, there you go.
I'm good at this shit.
So yeah, you guys kind of head into one of the seedier parts of the town. The buildings, the repair of the buildings rapidly falls into disrepair as you kind of head into some of the more slummy areas. And Warren doesn't bat an eyelash. He's seen this pretty frequently, but you as you kind of go into these sections again, you see some of the more downtrodden folk. A larger population of Togwell and Lagoos here than in other parts of the city. To a small amount of surprise. Mostly people just kind of keeping themselves. But before long, as you guys kind of are wandering about, the 3 of you guys, right, or the 4 of you, Melody, Connor, Rinzu, and Warren, yes. And you guys find a young Togwell with jet black wings, maybe 13, 14 years old, pretty scrawny. She's kind of just going about her business. A couple of a couple of other crows, like actual crows, kind of bobbing along on the sides of the buildings and stuff, just kind of following her, and they're kind of chittering, and you see her kind of laugh, likely at something that they said. And as you guys approach, the small murder of crows that had gathered near her kind of leaves, and she stops and she spins on her heel, still kind of walking backwards as you guys approach. You folk don't look like you're from around here. Well, except for maybe you. She's just gesturing to Warren. And she looks at all of you, kind of stopping for a moment to speak with you.
We're just passing through.
That's so. Well, I'd keep a tight grip on your purses if I were you then.
Oh, I already know.
And she were you approaching her for the thing?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she looks as if she's going to leave.
I'm looking for someone.
And she kind of stops, and her feathers kind of ruffle as she turns back, and I think we're all looking for someone, ain't we?
I feel like a unit might know. And she
She-
looks at the birds.
She looks up and she looks back at you and says, "I ain't a mind reader." And she holds a hand out. Expectantly.
I don't have any fucking money.
Oh my god.
I don't have much. Like I have all gone. I
Ask
don't
your
have shit.
boyfriend.
Oh my
Also,
god,
I
I'm
would've-
giving her this lady 10 credits.
Yeah. Also, if you need vet, and I know that I would have given you money.
Yeah.
Damn, get the only one that's broke here.
And
I'm sorry.
and
All of my money was taken.
she takes one of the coins and she side of it and she looks at you up at you and said, "All right, who you looking for?"
Just say I'd like to request an audience with the king.
Her eyebrows go up a little bit and she looks back down at the coins and back up at them and is like, that one might be a little bit more expensive. And she holds her hand out again.
I would give her 100 more credits.
Woo! And she kind of like, her wings kind of flutter out for a second as her eyes kind of greedily eye up the pouch, and she kind of tosses it up in the air and pockets it and says, "Right this way." And she leads you kind of around and about in a lot of kind of side alleys and stuff, and you definitely double back a couple of times. But after some time, she comes up on an old abandoned building, and she moves past it. She holds her hand out for you guys, and then she looks around the corner and then takes 3 steps back and knocks in this very specific way on the door. And the door opens, and as you look around, there's a lot more crows and such in the area. Specifically, there's about 20 of them sitting on some refuse in the alley. They kind of caw at you annoyedly as you walk by. And and you and as the door as the slot in the door opens for a second, and you see some beady eyes looking out, and they close after a moment, and the door slowly opens, and she gestures for you guys to go inside. His royal chambers.
We'll go in.
And she bows, and she will not follow you as she departs. And Warren just looks inside, and he just shakes his head. Dramatic much, aren't they?
You have no idea.
And as you go in, you effectively find an old abandoned apartment. There's really nothing else spectacular in here besides some old torn up furniture and such. And sitting on an old rusted chair that's clearly is in disrepair, leaning the chair backwards a bit, balancing a dagger on his finger as he goes. You see Vet, who's been a bit scarce as of late, and he kind of balancing the dagger for a second. He just kind of tosses it behind him, and it sticks into the wall. And he looks over, and he kind of pushes his foot off of the side of the cabinet that he's kind of leaning up against, and the chair falls backwards, and he kind of tumbles up and into a standing position from that, his wings kind of fluttering as he goes. If it isn't my old friends. I have to say, you've all been quite a boon to my business as of recently. I've found myself with an abundance of work ever since I started following all of you around. And he looks to you, Rinzu, and his smirk kind of dulls for a minute, and he says, "Have you been keeping yourself busy, short stuff?"
Just going to give him a look, and I'm pretty sure you already know.
I am quite aware. Glad to see you got yourself out of it. So, and he claps. What can I help you with today, my friends?
Out of character, he's been doing. What exactly do we know that he's been?
We know that Blackwatch has been meeting with crows to have their messages delivered.
Okay.
Not necessarily him,
Yeah.
but like they're using their that.
So do you relay that to him then?
Yeah.
He shrugs. It's quite possible. I can't be everywhere at once. My group functions itself on a way that I'm not privy to every single thing that happens. Believe it or not. Not to mention, if they are a client of mine, I can't exactly renege on that without a bit of problems. After all, I have my pristine reputation to uphold at the end of this.
Pristine.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's entirely possible. But at the same time, you wouldn't want me selling information about you to him, yes?
It's going to cross their arms.
He shrugs. I'm not sure what you wanted out of this conversation, short stuff. I can look into it if you want. I can't promise I'll find anything.
Could you look into it?
He taps his chin for a second. I mean, I could. That said, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure that you're the one that owes me. Even if I knock a few of those errands off for that debacle back in Hest. Sorry about that, by the way. Though it all worked out in the end.
Not so sure about that, but
Hey, you reunited with your noble boy. You're here. You're not in shackles. Tell you what, I'll look into it, but I can't say that I'll find anything. And that said, if I do find anything, I won't be able to tell you unless you make it worth my while.
what do you
Either I
want?
need some information that's a fair trade, or I need a purse that'll make up for whatever they're being paid. Is that fair?
Gotta look to Henry.
Oh, why are you looking at me? Why?
I'll talk to my people.
Well, you know how to find me. If there's anything to learn, I'll know it by tomorrow.
Isn't it in your best interest for your own business to?
To learn the
Help us.
information, yes. To help you? Sometimes, yes. Regardless of what I'm able to tell you, information that they're using to pass won't be enough to turn the tide of this battle. I doubt. Ultimately, I have full faith and confidence that the Blood of Legala will be completely successful in this war.
So you're just gonna milk what you can while you can, then?
Now you're learning. It's been a while, Connor.
Shut up. I'm assuming you already know about the Faranese troops coming in, then?
He hesitates for a moment.
You don't. You, of all people.
You see, this is the kind of information that I was talking about. Do you mind elaborating a bit?
I don't know, you can make it worth my while.
He kind of laughs a bit and he kind of points at you and he says, "Oh, I forgot what a pleasure it was." Fine. You tell me about this Fangorgi's troop, and if I can confirm if I can confirm this, then we'll have a trade of information. You'll know everything that I can learn as soon as I can, including the fact that including the reason as to why I didn't know about this. Perhaps that'd be a good first start.
I will explain to him what all we know about
Don't
these
tell him
Faranese troops.
Don't tell him everything.
No, I want him to be scared. I'm gonna tell him everything.
Don't
He
tell him
kind of-
everything, because then that gives us like not as much leverage.
kind of crosses his arms for a second. 1,000 men. You'd think I would have heard something about that.
Well, maybe you should check on your own people.
Yeah. Maybe I should.
Actually, one other thing. What can you tell us about Julius Blackwild?
Julius Blackwild. Now that's an interesting one. Not much. He keeps to himself in a lot of ways. Man's wealthy. He controls at least a quarter of the trade that comes out of the port. That's saying something. But he keeps things under a lot of lock and key up there. But seeing as he's a Blackwild, well, you can probably piece together the rest.
So he's more or less like the rest of them.
Hard to say exactly. Again, he doesn't take very many visitors. Not much information leaves that place. Supposedly he's taken 3 wives over the course of the years. Considering I haven't heard anything about the wives elsewhere, chances are, well, either the man likes to keep his bed very warm, or he's not the most lucky with women. Beyond that, again, unfortunately, it's a bit of a blackout zone for me. Something that I'm not exactly too keen on.
Man, that must be really frustrating for you.
Yes, it is. Thanks for rubbing that in.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you need to know, Renzu?
Pretty sure we got everything we needed.
Well, this has been a pleasure. You'll know as soon as I can. You'll know as soon as I find out something important, either personally or I'll send.
Excellent. We're finally getting somewhere.
I wish you good fortune.
Are you ready to go to a printing press or 10?
And then just make the portrait just a portrait of Rinzu winking that says, "Do you recognize me?
What? No.
Yes.
Do you recognize me? Well, you will after you attend this fantastic rally."
Yes, are.
God, that was awful.
Amazing.
No.
So yeah, the evening goes by. You guys complete your respective duties, and yeah, Hiei.
That's me.
Nighttime comes, and the rest of you guys are going to probably be in another seedy tavern not far away, right?
Why is everything seedy here?
Because it's Brimrad.
Brimrad.
Yeah.
It was specifically said to be a seedy fucking place.
God, I hate this city.
It's like downtown Chicago.
Yeah, it's
Damn you,
Chicago.
Chicago.
And so that that night comes, and you guys gather your things, and you guys will be at a predetermined location, loitering around where you need. And here, are you going alone, or are you sending anybody else in with you?
That is up to the group. He is confident enough in his abilities to not be noticed that he can do it himself, he thinks. But if anybody would like to send him an entourage,
Better not
that's
to go
up to the rest of the group.
Yeah, just have like something like Warren, maybe. And if
Yeah.
not Warren, then Mara.
Warren is also pretty discreet. He has ranks in the unrecognizable talent,
Nice.
so he's pretty good at this kind of thing too. So he'll be there as your backup. And
Sounds good.
So I'm gonna have the two of you guys initially. I'm gonna have the two of you guys make a stealth check. It'll be against just 2 difficulty.
All right.
Oh yeah. So you guys enter into the what did I say, the Lioness?
The Linus. Yeah.
And so you guys head into the Lioness tavern. It's a moderately sized tavern. And all considering the area around the town that it's located in, it's actually pretty nice. It despite its outside, which has some like scratch marks into some of the wood that you suspect were made by actual Togwa and Lagus. And you don't suspect that it was intentional to fit the theme of the tavern. When you go inside, it's surprisingly homey. It's the hearth is going to keep the slight chill of the air off. Though it's hardly necessary. There's a decent sized crowd here. At least a small group of which are Lagus and Togwell. And in a strangely surrealistic situation, the bartender is definitely also an elk Togwell. But she looks nothing like Tabitha. But like she's there, and it's like, whoa, what is this, like a thing? But
right.
no. The majority of the people here are human still. And yeah, so as the two of you guys head in, I imagine you guys are going to kind of split up, not exactly staying with each other.
Yeah.
Can you make a perception check for me to see if you can get a lay of the land or of the bar?
Sure can. Difficulty?
It'll be 3. Yeah, that's fine. And actually, go ahead and re-roll that. I'm gonna let you use Warren's ability that lets him re-roll his perception checks.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
And actually, can you also upgrade your perception twice because he has 6 this time since he's helping?
Yeah.
As
I'll
basically
take
you
what I
guys,
can get.
as you guys kind of jointly case the place, and it takes you a little bit of time, and you actually don't see them there until they're already seated. And you're not sure if they were already here or if they snuck in after you. But you do see a table with a number of people with the Black Watch logo, which is pretty much just it's pretty much an eagle, but the eagle's feathers are black. And you do see them over in the corner. However, they're located across the way, and it's a little bit loud, so you cannot hear what they're saying from where you're at right now.
Is there any like open-ish tables near where they're sitting, or at least something that's not terribly crowded?
The tables are kind of coming and going pretty quickly. But if you time it right, you may be able to snag one. But I'll have to have you make a stealth check.
Sure.
So go ahead and make a stealth check. This one is going to be 3 difficulty since the act of grabbing the table is a bit more noteworthy.
I guess while I wait, I'm gonna. If there's like, is there like a menu? Is there food here? Is it just like a tavern? Is it an inn?
It's a tavern, so they do have like a menu.
Okay, I'll order just like a small meal, probably like some stew, bread, whatever they have.
Yeah, just like the basic. The
And
line
keeping
is,
an eye out and waiting for my opportune moment.
yeah, and so as you order from the worker that comes to you, go to make the roll. We'll see. Nice. Yeah. So you're able to at a convenient juncture slide in at the last second. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody really seems to. You do see one person was like going for the table, and he kind of snaps his fingers and looks around, and he actually goes and finds your old table and he sits on it. And yeah. You're a little bit closer now. Go ahead and make another perception check.
Am I still using Warren stuff?
Yeah, go ahead and use that because he simultaneously is a little bit further than you, but is going to be able to try and focus some to let you get a little bit to lean in a little closer. So
Okay. And difficulty?
this one's going to also be against 3.
And can I get a boost dice because I am this close?
You can actually get 2 boost dice, yeah.
Take those.
And so as you do get closer, you kind of key into their conversation, and you don't hear all of it, but you do hear snippets. You hear one of the gentlemen speaking to the other, saying, "What's with it? I thought the others were supposed to be here. I don't know. Maybe something maybe something held them up." And like some more small talk, and
Right.
and they'll remark on that a couple of times, and one of them says, something must have happened. And what do you think we should do about it? And they as they kind of talk back and forth, like discussing ideas, you hear them talk about riding out to try and find where the rest of them are camped out, and one of them says, we kind of on that note says, we could ride out to see if the boss is back in town. He might want to know if something else has gone down. He's got to be done. He's got to be done meeting with that noble now, eh? And He shrugs. It's hard to tell. It's a better part of a day's travel to get there and back. Oh, well, we're not going to accomplish anything sitting around here. Clearly, something's happened. Let's try and find that. See if we can't find that mage lad. See if him and the others heard anything. And the two of them will get up and leave. They don't pay you any mind. And Warren, probably at the table, like right near you, like kind of leans back and quietly says, "You catch all that?"
Bits and pieces. Seems the ringleader's not here.
It sure does. Sounds like he's meeting a noble. How much you want to bet we might know exactly who that noble might be?
If I were anything like Mistral, I'd be a betting man. Fortunately, I'm not.
We'll have to find some others that are. Let's head back and let everybody know.
I'll leave a bit after you.
He nods, and he'll get up and he'll tip the waitress and take and he'll drain the stein, and he'll look back at you and just say, "Don't tell anyone." And then he's gonna leave. And yeah, he's it was to fit in. It's all a part of the action. And he will leave to go and meet up with the rest of
How good is the food here? Real quick.
It's actually pretty good. Like it's got that homey, hearty kind of taste. Somehow it's not quite as hearty as Zodian food, but like that's hard to match.
I was gonna say, I
but
feel
it
like that's
is-
a kind of hard of a thing to mimic.
It is greasier though. It's got that really hefty kind of like stomach filling, delicious grease
Mm.
to it, and it's really really good. It's really flavorful too.
It's got the good shit.
Yeah, like
How much is
You're-
my meal?
it's probably just like 5 Imperial credits. Nothing crazy. Cheap.
I'll tip an extra 10.
Oh shit! Good man. Good man.
And then I will discreetly make my way out.
And yeah, and you'll be able to do so and make your way back to report to the others.
So I assume we're heading back to talk about this.
Yes.
So probably wait for things back at the church.
Yeah, I imagine the church does have some cots and stuff that you could actually stay
Real
at too.
quick,
So,
Eric.
Yes.
Could I have seen which direction they left in?
They seem to have gone. Make another perception check. This one's against 4 difficulty because you guys were inside.
Sure. This is just with my stuff, right?
Yes.
Intense focus. Anybody mind if I spend a story point for this? Just
Go
it'd
for it.
be good to have the information. And if not, if
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Unfortunately, he turned right, but that's the most you get.
okay. There's not a chance I could grab a boost dice because I do know the city because I took the time to walk around.
Yeah, unfortunately, that will. Or yeah, go ahead and roll a boost. Let's see what happens.
Boost.
No.
Fuck.
No.
Warm.
Oh well.
It is not to be.
Oh well. Then in that case, I'll just make my way back.
And yeah. So you guys so you guys reconvene back at the church, and are quickly able to share the things that you guys have learned. I assume that you're telling everybody about the things that you learned at your scope, and also the things that you guys learned from Vet. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that information has been dispersed. So what does it all mean? Beatrice says.
Well, from the sound of things, sounds like Vet's people are going behind his back.
Or they're just or Blackwatch is doing a good job of hiding the information of what they're doing. Or paying them off to not tell him.
I think he must certainly afford it.
It's true. Unfortunately, when you Warren says, unfortunately, when you have a group of folk that are employed by somebody like that guy, enough money's enough to keep anyone silent.
Warren, you're familiar with the area around here, correct?
He nods.
Do you know of any noble houses that are within a day's travel,
Well,
other than Julius?
there are a few, yeah. But if I were a betting man, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some connection there.
Hmm.
Especially considering he's related to their employer. Seems pretty likely to me.
Most likely candidate.
Ugh. It gets more complicated every day.
Though I suppose they're meeting with him to try and get him on board. Or just to meet with him in general, as he's the local contact.
Given their MO, I'd say they're trying to pressure him. Not quite unlike what we were planning to do, but seems like
So
they're trying to get there first.
So it could potentially switch from we could actually be this time the ones to offer a way out, which increases our options of what to do.
Assuming he's not on board with their plan.
Though given I suppose either way, it should be. And then, of course, there's to add to it if Brennan is still there. If anywhere, this might be the best chance to catch him.
Especially since they're caught off guard currently, because the mercenaries in the tavern said that something might have happened, meaning they might have got tangled up in something.
Indeed, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're delivering that information to Brennan as soon as they can. Meaning he might be called away.
Have your people come to you with any skirmish reports or anything?
She shakes her head. I haven't heard anything today, but they Council mainly acts around at night anyway, most of the time, so it wouldn't be the time for that. That said, given the fact I don't need to sleep, I'll be keeping vigil through the night.
It's a handy trick, that.
Not quite worth the price.
She kind of sighs at that. Because she still hasn't said anything. I suppose no. Might be. What are we all thinking? Ideas, feelings, anything?
It sounds like Black Wild might be in transit, and that would get him.
Indeed. So tomorrow, first thing go. We also run the risk of running into Brennan, but catching him off guard like that might not be the worst place to run into him.
I thought that's what we were attempting to run into. If we can catch him while he's in transit and not while he has all of his mercenaries.
Oh, you'd said
Oh, you
Blackwild.
You said Black
Oh,
Wild.
my bad. I meant Brennan.
But honestly, the same is true for because he probably doesn't know where he stands yet, which is interesting in its own right. That said, we're going to need the entirety going with us if we're trying that. So
There isn't much we can do here in the city in any case.
Indeed. So, first thing tomorrow, step and we head to Blackwild Manor. Prepare for a fight
Always.
and potentially for politics.
Never.
I'll leave the ladder to you.
So we have a plan.
About time.
We got information.
Yeah, we did.
Speaking of information, how did the spreading for the rally go?
Oh, well, I've mostly been chatting people to spread the wheat here. Just pass out as many flyers as you can around the city. He tripped a couple times.
Hey! That's because you tripped me, you jackass.
What are you talking about? I would never.
Well, in that case, it's late. Everybody think we should turn in.
Right.
And yeah, you in fact turn in.
Thank you for keeping watch, Alstrom area.
Yeah? And that night you'll also be able to make sure that the that guy gets out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would be able to coordinate that pretty efficiently, and so that happens without a hitch. And yeah, the next day will come. And
Real quick,
you guys, what's up?
does resting recover our strain?
Oh, better.
Yeah, your strain will be back.
Awesome.
And if you guys have any more wounds, you'll recover 1 wound. So
Yeah.
So Nate will recover 1 more wound.
yeah, no, he's actually good now.
God damn it, Nate.
And so
So.
the next morning, you guys swiftly gather your stuff, and you guys are heading out early to try and make your way to Black Wilds, right?
Yup.
Morning.
Morning. You all rest up?
Much as you can on these cots.
Fair enough.
And so, are you guys trying to? Did you say you guys were going to try and see if you could catch Brennan in transit? Yes.
That would be a nice thing.
Yeah. That would be great.
I mean, are we focusing on getting towards the manor or?
We do both.
I think we should make our way towards the manor, and if we happen to stumble across Brennan, we can do whatever then.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what was happening.
Yeah, okay. Just
Oh,
making sure.
Okay. Good.
Let us find out.
Don't lead us astray, Nate. Warren. That one.
That one. That guy right
I don't
there.
know, you people all look the same to me.
Well,
People.
Well, I'm sorry, we can't just change our appearance with a snap of a finger.
All
It
right.
takes
Ooh,
a
you
little
got
bit more
called
than a
out.
snap of a finger.
You got called out.
Shut up, glow hair.
Oh no.
Wow.
Wow.
damn.
Huh.
And so as you guys depart from Brimrad, and as you go, you leave the city limits and find a couple of roads that kind of head out into the to the northwest in the direction that they're headed, or that the manor itself is. Warren takes a couple of extra moments to check the surrounding woods as he goes, and about an hour and a half in, he flags you guys down, and as he takes you off the road, he shows you guys a small clearing that looks like it was a camp that was made earlier that night. And in the camp, he's already kind of searched it a bit, and he finds two pieces of information that are quite interesting. First, there are tracks that led from the direction that you guys are heading back towards to Brimrad, implying that you probably missed him in the woods.
Fuck.
But he probably took a different route back. And because as you look around, judging from the numbers and the way that this was set, it looks to be a camp that was set by mercenaries, by people who knew their way around but weren't the best at weren't the best at hiding their tracks from somebody like Warren, but good enough to pass him. But he can pretty much with almost certainty can pinpoint the fact that they came from either Blackwild's Manor or somewhere very close to Blackwild's Manor, but that you've probably missed them, and Brendan is probably back in Brimrad now.
Well, that kind of seals that. We keep going.
Yep.
Luck never just seems to be quite on our side.
No, I think it's just you avoiding mercenaries and bandits.
I would trade that luck.
And so you guys are continuing to go towards Blackwild's Manor, yes?
That's the idea.
And so as you guys press down the road a bit more, it's not too long. Warren's able to keep you guys going pretty well, and so about an hour later, as you get through a few more dense forests, as you kind of go forward, the terrain actually kind of goes up a little bit, onto some kind of rolling hills. And through the thick trees, you see the beginnings of a clearing, a large clearing, and a building kind of unraveling in the distance as you go. It's the building itself is really quite grandiose, and as you punch your way through the clearing, even more so than Alexis's manor. What you see before you is a very much a monument of a marriage between Fanorgese and Legolan culture. You have a large sprawling manor, much like the ones that you get here, multi-storied, with immaculately kept gardens and shrubbery and such, carved in the shape of swans and other things as you approach. But certain details of it, the roof, some of the foliage itself, and other bits and pieces of it are reminiscent of Fanorgese culture. As you what's up? Sorry.
I never thought I'd miss clay shingles.
And it's quite breathtaking, actually. Warren, or Westland, he kind of like looks at it and kind of like blinks in awe for a moment. I've never actually seen this manor itself, but from what I understand, it's even older than the manor that my mother that I grew up in with my mother and father.
So it was probably the first one.
He nods. That would make sense.
Does make sense given your heritage.
He looks at you quizzically for a second. How do you mean?
Don't you, if you go back far enough, isn't a Farangese woman who started your line?
Oh, that, yes. That would make
Not
sense.
the rumors.
Oh, those. I couldn't tell you if those were true or not. Though I was always told that that we did have lineage back to Fanrin itself. Would explain a great deal.
That it would. He says, looking pensively over in Weston's direction. I thought I caught a hint of the blood of the valley in you.
Well, at this point, it would be less of a hint and more of a very faint trickle. But yes. Thank you, sir. And he actually like bows to you in the same kind of way that you often bow to others, like in a very deep and respectful kind of way. Your means mean much. And he
He's
actually
not
thanks
used
you.
to being bowed at. This is
He
strange.
actually thanks you in Fanrungese. It's not perfect Fanrungese, and there's still an accent there, but he is fluent.
There is a very large smile on Hiei's face. Just he's very happy in this moment. That means a great deal. He replies in Fenrong. Only 3 people can understand this
Right?
conversation.
Though you can probably, and he actually says, though you can assume that my uncle, too, and any of the staff here, likely can understand it as well.
Duly noted. He says, thinking back to the Floros Manor.
You can't pull that face.
So don't try that again.
Can't do it.
Have you ever faked not being able to understand? God, we call it Gala, don't we? Or is it common?
It's just common, yeah, the common tongue.
Alistair has war flashbacks.
There was a moment, while we were still over in Zodia. We were meeting with a dignitary in the north where, oddly enough, it was rather effective. But I get the feeling I can't really try that again here.
No, it doesn't work that way.
There's several things that happened in that meeting that can't be tried again here.
Yes, I suppose you're correct.
Oh god, that was the Necro Dragon.
We're all gonna have to handle this rather carefully.
Like I said, I leave it mostly to you. Politics isn't really my strong suit.
Oh, does Connor actually know what happened?
I imagine he was. I imagine he may have been filled in.
Okay,
Well, I
I know
think
then.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, and the Necro Dragon came down on that house, and those political relations went lovely.
Let's not joke.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And so as you guys are kind of cresting the hill and approaching the bounding paths and such, Rinzu, Amara actually comes up to you and is like, "Hi, Rinzu, can I talk to you for a second as we as like you're starting to approach it?"
Her one ear's just going to raise.
Look, I don't really know exactly what's going to happen, but apparently I'm going to meet my father of some kind, and for some dumb reason, I don't think it's a good idea for me to be going in here right now without. She kind of swallows, without saying a couple of things, and I just wanted you to know that I ain't good at talking about my feelings. And look, I'm sorry I acted like a bitch, alright? But you kind of acted like a bitch too. But I think we're friends now and we're supposed to get over that now. Because ultimately, if we're all just going to be a bunch of bitches to each other, then ain't going to do anything, right?
Right.
So I guess I still don't trust that I still don't trust Weston or anything, but Are we cool? I kind of want to be able to rely on my friend in here. She kind of offers you a smile, and she's clearly nervous,
Yeah.
like really nervous.
So she's going to take her hand. We're good.
Like, thanks. And yeah, you guys walk up and actually no there's no one here. Like
What?
there's no groundskeepers, there's no anyone outside at all.
Yeah, well, that's not ominous. Best keep
Can we
Ready.
roll a perception check?
perception
Yes.
check.
Okay, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be against 4.
Okay.
I can use my hearing.
Just
I'm
watch
so
this.
afraid.
Watch this.
Yes.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, you can use hearing or sight-based things.
This is why I rely on everyone else.
I did it.
You did it, as always. You carried this team with your skills.
I'm very
Um,
bad at this.
So Hiei, you hear a strange sound at the
I
very edge of
motion
your
for
perceptions.
everybody to stop.
It kind of sounds like a blade being sharpened. It's that distinctive sound.
Like against a grind wheel or a whetstone?
Against a whetstone.
There's somebody very close by. Sharpening a blade, it sounds like.
And it takes a moment, but that's when you see the source of it. Because as you're looking around for opening up all of your perceptions, as all of you guys are opening up all of your perceptions and trying to hear where this is coming, you look over to your right, towards one of the pieces of shrubbery that is cut into an immaculate swan, its wings kind of presented perfectly out. And that's when you see the source of the sound, up above you guys, up near the towering wings above you. As you see a pair of shears floating. As they snip, 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 trimming up the edges of this hedge. No one's holding it. You don't see anybody here actively controlling it.
Fucking
And as you kind of look around, you see that a couple of other times. One of the
Suppose I
nearby
would've-
ponds, you see a skimmer wash its way through the pond, collecting a leaf that fell into it. Nobody's holding the skimmer.
Man, they must save so much money on servants.
Could have been worse.
still might be.
Elster
Alright.
nods.
Right.
I suppose be on guard, but be pleasant.
Pleasantly on guard. Got it.
Putting off an air of unnerved? probably works.
I'm already nerved.
We're all nothing if not pleasant.
It was ragtag of team people.
And so you guys are heading up to the front door.
I'd actually like to circle around to the side to see if I can find out where the sharpening came from. Unless
Um,
it was the clippers.
Yeah, as you look closer, the sound is similar, but because you're more familiar with the sound of a blade being sharpened than hedges being trimmed, you mistook it for that. But you can see now, listening to it, that that's definitely where it was from.
Fuck. What does that say about me as a person? God damn. All right.
I mean, and by the way, as you guys pass the nearby pond, there are a number of koi fish in here,
course
which
there
are
are.
even bigger than the ones that you remember away up in or that you had up in Black Wild's pond.
Bigger than yours.
The ponds themselves are almost more like
Those
actual
huge.
ponds outside.
God, they're
Bigger than
probably monsters then.
Yeah, like
Jesus.
the pond itself.
Westland, I want bigger.
Oh my god.
The
No, I'm
pond
fine.
is
My
so
koi fish-
big that it actually you think you see several ponds, but that's when you notice that they're actually all interconnected and they wrap around almost the entirety of the whole place as you guys pass over a small bridge that crosses over into this almost pseudo almost Wonderland-esque kind of dreamscape that almost seems to be.
Go open the doors so Eric can cut it off.
Jesus.
I mean, we're getting
You
that
should
far,
see the
but
ones back
don't
home.
worry.
Yeah,
You think these are large?
God, are
Yeah.
we gonna need like 4 weeks to get all this shit done?
Hey, if we do, we'll take 4 weeks. Like, it's fine. I'm more than okay with like if this
I
takes
don't need
4
a
weeks, we'll do
fucking
4 weeks.
sleep. I'm good. Let's keep going.
Well, I open tomorrow, so we're not gonna go
I
that way.
want to let other friends play too, so let's get stuff done.
No, it's all good. Yeah, if this takes 4 weeks, it takes 4 weeks. But if it doesn't, it also could possibly wrap up next. It very much depends on what happens. But either way, so as you guys go forward, you almost see, and almost again in this strange combination of cultures, you almost see a perfect medium between like French doors and like sliding doors, like bamboo sliding door kind of things. And as you guys step up, the stair at the very top sinks down just a hair, and as it does, you hear a tone of not an alarm, but like a tone of like alert that like almost like a doorbell, but it's like an actual bell outside somewhere.
Boom.
Actually, yeah, it probably is a gong. Good point, Steph.
God
She's like,
damn.
it's a fucking gong. These guys are weebs.
I hear the screaming in the background.
Oh my
And
god.
and a few moments later, the door slides open, and as it does, it reveals the first person that you've seen here so far. A woman opens the door. She's tall, and quite comely. She has long black hair with streaks of blue through it. A long traditional Fenrigese dress, beautiful, tight, and comfortable as it goes. That kind of flows down past her ankles. But you notice that it is definitely open on the back, because behind her, folded neatly behind her back, are two long and pristinely kempt blue jay wings. And as the door slides open, and she sees you guys, she bows deeply, as she does, and says, in a voice that's breathy and warm, she speaks and says, "Welcome. It's a pleasure to be the first to welcome you to the manor of Julius Blackwell. To what do we owe the honor, travelers?"
We seek audience with Julius Blackwire.
Business then. Good. It is not often that my lord gets visitors asking for personal business here.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes a step back and she gestures inside. Please, come in.
This is too pleasant. This is too pleasant.
Yeah.
Can we?
Alarm! Alarm!
Please.
And
We enter.
she steps aside and the doors, she slides the doors open to their entirety.
I guess we go in, but continue to be on alert.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. This.
Ugh.
I
How
don't
do you
like
guys
this.
Actually,
feel?
Eric, I'm letting my guard drop completely, and I'm
Okay.
relaxed. And
All right.
That sounds about right,
You
yeah.
do that.
That seems like exactly what Connor would do in this situation.
Honestly, Nate does that.
Yeah, no, Nate absolutely does.
Fucking,
Okay,
that's my boy. He's
but he
fine.
can also
That's
like
my boy.
he can also go into attack mode in an instant. So
Oh,
like,
It's true.
definitely. He's a Jesus Christ.
You just flip the
Alright,
switch
anyway.
and it's like, let's go.
Same.
It's a pleasure to be the first to welcome you here once again, it's a pleasure to be the first to welcome you here to my master's domicile. My name is Raimi. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. It will take a small time for me to summon the master, but first allow me to make sure that you are comfortable.
Hmm.
And by the way, I think like upon all of this, go in and she as you guys go in, she turns and says, "Oh, if you could please make sure to remove your footwear." The master
Already done.
the master deplores filth outside getting inside. You understand, yes?
Naturally.
Right.
It's his custom after all.
we're gonna remove our shoes then.
We're gonna have
Of course.
to,
This is nothing new for me. Like,
Goodbye, steel-toed boots.
Just take off your armor boots.
Armored boots.
Clink clink. And she waits patiently for that, and she looks to you, Rinzu, and she says, "And you must be Rinzu, yes?"
They recognized her.
God. Oh my god.
shut up.
I wouldn't hope that young Master Westland came with you, has he? She says, looking amongst the people who came with you.
do we actually have a reason to hide Westland?
Do we?
No, because I think we're going to use him in this meeting anyway.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna use him to like as the foot in the door,
He still
and then
got
Amaro
one.
would be the punch to the girl.
And he
Yeah.
What's the girl?
and he actually steps forward and he says, "Actually, hi, hello. I came with though necessity required me alter my appearance to a degree." And she bows deep, like even more deeply, and says, "Young Master Westland, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Your uncle will be most overjoyed to see you here."
Can I see some deception checks here?
I'm just like gonna read on this woman.
Yeah. All the ranks and nobody's.
Yeah, go ahead and make a check. It won't be against any difficulty though.
What check is it again?
How do
Vigilance?
I do this?
Just roll it against no difficulty.
So I just roll what?
Yes. Just roll your ability, and I'll tell you what you see.
What do we use to detect?
What ability is it?
Or actually, yeah. What's up? Vigilance, or cool, either one.
And what about those of us with nobody's fool?
I'll take that into.
Okay.
All right.
Why did you try?
I'm sorry, did you say vigilance or cool?
Vigilance
Or-
or cool, yeah.
Oh,
Vigilance is
shit.
cool.
Wait, I want to use my cool instead.
Too late.
I didn't know you could use cool.
She's just too cool for school.
Renzu, you just added a bunch of ones to the end of
Holy shit!
It's because they recognized her. She got really excited.
Yeah, I'd rather use my cool than my fucking vigilance.
As far as things are considered, like beyond the like weird kind of feeling that you're getting based on all this, she seems pretty genuine. It's a little bit surreal, but you're not picking up anything strange.
Alright, I'm finally gonna relax. I'm just,
Connor, are we sharing a look right now?
Absolutely.
The sibling look of what the fuck?
What is happening here?
And Westland kind of smiles and he says, "It will be a great honor to see my uncle again. It's been many years." And she nods and smiles sadly and says, "Yes, my condolences to your late mother. That must have been very difficult for you as it was for my master." And he nods solemnly and says, "It was. Well, let us not dwell on such terrible things, young Master Westland. Please come." And she gestures for all of you guys to follow her, and she'll lead you guys into the manor, and you guys definitely go into an indoor out exterior garden as you enter into a beautiful kind of central area with natural ground. In the very center, there's a small table that one would kind of sit down before in a more proper kind of open to the elements, beautiful foliage and such, and as butterflies and birds chirp from inside of the it. And as she walks by, Raimi speaks quietly to a couple of the birds in the hedges and says, "Please, dearies, will you try not to be too loud? We're seeing guests, can't you see?" And they chirp silently as a couple of them leave and others go and go about other bird-like things, flying to some bird seed and such, as they kind of just do their own thing. And she turns back towards you guys as you guys kind of step in. "Make yourselves comfortable. I'll see what I can. I shall see if I can conjure some refreshments for all of you. Please do be at home. I'm confident that my master will not keep you waiting too long."
Oh, there's no need. Thank you for your hospitality, though. It is much appreciated.
And she bows deeply once more, and she'll disappear into another room.
Also, how's Amara doing?
Amara's wide-eyed, just looking around, like, where am I? Like, what? Like, this place isn't actually real, is it? Like, that's the feeling you're getting.
same.
Like, but I feel like we're also going through that, so like, you know.
No, this is fine. Used to this shit.
It's more the uncanny valley, like. Kind
Oh
of
yeah.
weirdness.
No, how she's this bothers me how she acts.
I always forget that people are so unaccustomed to Fanrong hospitality.
Oh, I know what it's like.
Well, let's
Oh, shut up, you.
not
What?
forget we're in the middle of a war, so this is just.
But we're not in a war right now.
Well, not right
Yes.
now.
You guys enjoy the
sure.
scenery.
He could be on the other side right now, but we don't know that yet. Anyway, this isn't out loud at all.
No.
I imagine
This is-
you guys
this is
are just
all out of
saying
character.
this. Oh, I thought you guys were actually talking about this like quietly.
No.
Yeah, no, just
There's
like, well,
birds here. They can tell her.
Yeah, also, but
Watch for the
kind of just like give a reassuring look to Amara.
This place isn't real, is it?
It's very real.
It's
Also,
extravagant, but also very real.
This is something else. And as she says that, a couple of the birds come back. One of them is carrying a cup. One of them is
This isn't a
carrying.
fucking Disney movie.
Oh my
Aaron.
god!
Oh, but this is exactly what happens as these birds, a number of sparrows and blue jays and other native birds straight up come back. One of the larger ones is carrying a pot full of tea.
Oh my god.
Each of them carrying a saucer or this or that. Two of them carrying a small tray of pastries, tenderly, kind of shaking a little bit as they go, and place them in front of all of you.
Usually this happens in fairy tales, but
I'm pretty sure Nate belly laughs as this happens. Like, this is the best. This is actually the best.
Eric, is it green tea?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's
Fuck.
like the weebiest tea you could imagine. It's like this like delicious like green tea with like ginseng and jade.
Mother. He is in heaven.
And as you guys either cautiously or otherwise or not at all begin to pick at some of these refreshments, this is Nate is the first one to dig in. He's like,
course.
if it's poisoned, I'll know. And he pops a small macaroon into his mouth, and I don't know what this is. This is really good. And he grabs another one and eats it.
well, I'm
Warren-
gonna get one then.
Warren is just like kind of the same kind of reaction that a lot of you guys are.
does he just mouth "what the fuck" at one point?
Yeah, like
Ah,
what?
this is actually pretty good.
But if you were to test any of it for poison, it is completely fine.
We still have that powder.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Draco.
Guess who's indulging?
One of the macaroons has been poisoned. No, I'm just kidding.
One.
God.
Like
And,
I eat anybody else's sweets. Come on. I have a bag.
And after a short while, maybe about 20 minutes, as you guys wait for a bit, just as Amara is starting to get antsy, the doors open once again. And a man whom you can only assume is Julius Blackwild steps through. He's tall and almost uncomfortably beautiful in an almost uncanny kind of way. His long hair is mostly is completely straightened. The song. There we go. And as he steps in, he's wearing also kind of traditional clothing. A bright kind of white with black undertones as he goes. His hair long and kempt, tied in braids and such like that as he steps in. And the majority of his clothing is rather traditional Fenrir-Geese, but there are subtle hints as to the Legala nature, including he absolutely has the monarch right there. That's absolutely there. That's real. And as he steps in, he almost glides as he walks in a almost perpetually sad smile seeming to cross his face as he steps in. And silently, with Raimi behind him, he glides across. Though he is though you know him to be older than you know him to have been older than fuck.
Minnie?
Thank you. Than Minnie. You do know that he was only a couple years older. Were she alive still, she would likely have been. She would probably be just about in her early to mid 40s. So he is probably in his late 40s. But there's not a single wrinkle. There's not a single hair out of line. No gray. Nothing.
Must be a Fangrange secret.
He looks.
I don't think so.
He looks like very, very good. Like easily, pretty much like kind of almost like perpetually in his like late 20s, very latest. And he smiles and salutations. He says, bowing gently as he comes in. It is not often that I have visitors, especially unannounced ones. Pardon the mess, he says.
What mess?
This is a mess.
As he gestures to this pristine garden.
I'm just baffled at this
What?
point. What?
Wait, what does it look like when it's not a mess?
My God.
And Raimi bows and says, I do the utmost to maintain my lord's manner. And he glides across the garden, and he goes to Westlin, and Westlin will take his hand and we'll kiss the back of it. And he nods. It's good to see you again, Westlin. I've heard troubling tales from beyond the veil. I trust this may have something to do with your... His brow furrows ever so slightly. Peculiar choice of hairstyle. And Westlin... Yes, Uncle. We can explain. But perhaps first we should... And he gestures and he bows or he nods his head and says, "Of course." And gliding over to the cushion once more, he gently kneels down, and he will reach down and he will as he reaches for one of the saucers, Raimi grabs the tea gently and fills it, and he nods and he will take a sip. I believe we have much to discuss. Perhaps we should start with introductions. As you know, I am Julius Blackwater. And before I require anything else from you, allow me to formally welcome you to my humble abode. If there is anything that you require, merely ask, and myself or my dear Amy will gather it for you.
So we all agree that we're letting Westlin talk because he's the only one that seems like unfazed, right?
I guess. I don't know.
He had heard stories, but this is something else seeing it.
Also, are we outing ourselves?
I'm not. You're welcome to do whatever you
Oh
want.
my God.
I would keep you
Like-
guys
Yeah.
keep you guys on the down low.
We're so safe here. Right? Let's not hide.
I guess we just look to Westlin to talk as he is our face right now.
I guess.
And he He kind of looks to all of you, and by what names are you guys introducing yourself by then? Specifically, Connor and Alstro.
I'm still sticking with the Henry.
Okay.
And Blythe for now.
Okay. And so you all obviously have the opportunity to introduce yourself. Amara just says Amara. That's it.
We'll get to that.
How's she doing?
She's like looking at the tea. You do notice that Julius's eyes linger on her for a quarter of a second longer than usual. And oh yeah, that's right, because you have your
Yup.
your alternative names. I trust that your visit here was not one of pleasure, but one of business. So please, nephew, if you would explain. You must understand that the goings on of Arcanon are wearisome. And Westland nods and says, I can agree with that. And he will proceed to explain the conflict that he had with his father, which led him here. And that you guys are at least going with the idea that Davian and the Mercer Brigade are working with Blood of Lagoon, yes?
I mean, there's
see.
really no point in fighting that because every pretty much people know that Westland works with the Blood of Legalin now.
Yeah.
Except for this guy, apparently.
Well,
He'd heard things, but it's good to get a confirmation. I trust that you likely came here then to recruit me to your cause, then.
more or less.
Right.
What?
I suppose we can probably also bring up the fact that we heard the brought in of Fangrunki's mercenaries. Like, how much do we want to give away, actually?
Hmm.
I suppose we just wanted to see where you stood on the matter.
Well, as you can imagine, my position offers me little opportunity to disembark from this.
What do you say?
Oh, that my position offers me little time to disembark from this place. I do a great deal of organization with the trading company that belongs to our name, and a great deal of that requires my presence here. As such, the goings on of the war outside have not reached us here, not as much. But you understand that I cannot help. The ties of family and blood are a tie that transcends beyond agreement, beyond contract. for me to turn against my brother-in-law would be a sin most grievous.
Despite everything he's done.
Alexis Blackwild has done a great deal for me. He is a great mind for trade, for brokering deals, for business.
Doesn't seem his moral code holds very well to that, though.
He smiles softly and says, "A great deal of rumors exist in this world. I'm most certain that he, like any man, is not without perfection.
Well, I can think of one person who can attest to that, or disagree with that. And he's gonna look at Renzu expectantly.
I'm also going to stare at Rinzu.
And we all look at Renzu.
Oh.
This isn't the time to hide how you feel.
Actually having a hard time like wanting to talk about that.
Oh my god.
Alternatively,
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at Astro and just hand over the letter.
Alstra's gonna look at Amara actually.
Oh.
How's Amara looking right now?
Antsy, angry.
Like, kind of, Elstra gives her a look that, like, do you...
She nods, like, now
Okay.
seems a good a time as any.
It's funny you actually mentioned family because, well, that's also part of the reason, another reason why we're here. What was the name Cass told us to use?
Oh, Cassidy sends her regards, by the way.
Oh, he freezes when you say that, by the way.
Davian.
What?
It's that thing we talked about. But anyway,
Oh,
she hands over the letter.
He takes it,
oh, I did it again.
You did it
And-
again.
though she did straight up tell you to tell him that.
I did.
You did it. Mission complete.
I'm gonna write that letter back to see how you
I did it!
did it.
He takes the letter and carefully opens it, and he reads it quickly and well, I suppose that puts it quite plainly. And he replaces the letter into the envelope, and he hands the envelope to Raimi, who takes it. And his eyes scan across the crowd of you, and they fall on Amara. Kind of almost winces as they do. then that must be you. I must assume. I guess so. She kind of says. I thought so much. You have her hair. It's a pleasure to meet you, Amara. 1,001 pardons for not knowing of your existence before this point. So I must assume that with this information, that Mistress Cassiopeia has divulged to me in this letter. That you intend to force my collusion.
We're honestly hoping we didn't have to. You say that your home is away from all the strife, but eventually this war will reach to you. Now isn't the time to sit idly by and watch as people suffer. I get what Alexis has done for you, but it doesn't justify his actions.
There's something else on.
What was that?
Westland says there's something else. My father's remarried. By tradition, their daughter has a greater claim to our fortune than anything. I see, Julia says. I see. Davian, can I have you make a leadership check?
Leadership check.
Oh. I
Yeah.
was about to say there's also the matter of Liao.
Okay.
Oh, please, yeah. Add anything
Add on
else you
to
want
that,
to say.
please.
Yeah, no, in addition to all of that, in addition to everything else, Alexis is being preyed upon by a woman from Fengrongu. From what Rinzu has said, from what Rinzu has reported, she's intending to use her sway in Fengrongu to have Alexis marry her, and which includes whatever she seems deemed necessary for his current wife. Isn't that right, Rinzu? which is your indication to kind of say at least that part of the story, if nothing else.
Please.
You say
Please?
something.
See, I'm sorry. It's that part of her that's like, I'm not allowed to speak unless spoken to. I don't know how he would react. Speak out of turn.
Well,
Like,
we
that's
also need
her.
to get a measure of the kind of person.
Yeah, I
Plus,
Yeah.
I think we have our weapons, so.
Like, honestly, just be honest with him and we'll get his reaction from there.
Mhm.
yes, that's correct. She's gone as far as to manipulating people into trying to murder current wife. Framing other, trying to make it seem like an accident.
That is terribly uncultured. Takes another sip of tea. Can I have you make that check?
Oh, alright. So, difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be. It's going to be 3. I'm going to upgrade it with the story point.
Alright, I'm gonna use a light side to upgrade it too. Bleh.
And it's going to be against. Add 2 setback dice,
Can
and
we,
actually upgrade it 1 more time.
can we also
Okay.
use someone else's presence for that?
Yeah, Rinzu. Since
Yeah.
Rinzu did the thing, you can add 1 more of green to that.
One more green. Okay.
Or no, that would be the
Oh, okay.
4th one.
Get out of here. There we go. 4 yellow. Right?
Yes.
Alright. Yeah.
That is most troublesome. That Alexis would betray Wilhelmina's memory in such a way as to replace the last vestige of our family's line. And doubly so if a woman from the valley would try and strike at him in such a way. Seems there's a great darkness that builds beyond beyond this veil. And that saddens me deeply. The Blackwatch Mercenary Company. They have been hired by my brother-in-law.
I'm assuming they paid to visit.
He nods. That is correct. Along with a letter from Alexis himself, explaining the situation. That said, suspiciously absent from any communication I've had with him has been any mention of his new wife. This too saddens me deeply. that he would mistrust me on such a base level. He would believe that such a thing would be an eternal divide between the two of us. And yet still, I cannot abide his own life being put at risk. The Weiji mercenary company is set to arrive shortly. I will annex specifications onto the writ of payment that is to be sent towards the leader of that mercenary brigade. They will know that until I personally speak with my brother-in-law here, they are not to aid in the battle. Is that a sufficient recourse?
So what's happening exactly?
Basically, he's going from the sounds of it, he's the one writing the bill for the mercenaries,
Oh shit!
and he intends on basically telling the mercenaries that they are to not fight until Alexis comes to meet him personally.
Huh. Certainly. Okay.
And Raimi actually speaks up and says, "My lord, respectfully speaking, I do not know if your brother-in-law will be amenable to such terms. I do not want you to be put at risk by taking a stand against him. He is a magister now, after all." And he nods and raises a hand and says, "This I understand, my dear Raimi, but so too is he my brother. He understands this connection, this bond. He will not act against me. Not if he is wise." And should he refuse my bargain, then he too shall refuse my aid. Though he has a great head for business acumen. I have been trained to do this my entire life. Darling Raimi, if you could send such a missive to my brother-in-law, post haste. And she bows deeply. Of course, my lord.
Before she can step out, can we real quick make sure what's happening?
So basically, the idea being, until Alexis comes to meet with him, the mercenaries are not to do any. The Weiji company is not to do anything.
And what are his terms for
For
like for lifting that.
Alexis has to come to his manor right here and explain himself.
All right.
Explain why he left such details out, including but not limited to not inviting him to the wedding.
What? You invited to the wedding?
Wasn't invited to the
He
wedding.
was not invited to the wedding.
Yeah. Interesting.
Also, actually, something aside,
Mhm.
Alistair kind of looks to Westlin.
Hmm.
If that's also an option, if you would be amicable to it, perhaps it's a chance for Westlin to talk to his father without that woman's influence interfering.
I'm afraid of the prospect, but perhaps that might be worthwhile.
Is that agreeable?
And he, Julius nods and says, I see no reason as to why not. The veil of our ancestors is a place where all of us can meet on even grounds. And though he is not of our bloodline, through birth, he is through marriage. Perhaps these ancestral grounds can be where this war can begin to go to can be brought to an end.
If I may, would it be okay if I stayed here with Westlin?
He nods. You're all welcome to stay. I apologize if the arrangements are not as flawless as I would deem them to be.
Oh, sir, no. This place is it's great.
I've only seen a few noble houses, and they don't exactly compare.
Your words do me great justice, Sir Henry. Please, you are all welcome for as long as you require.
Also, is this the part that we reveal ourselves? Like if we're staying here?
You know, that would be the most hospitable thing to do.
Might as well.
Also, hey, guess what?
It ain't Henry, it's Connor.
Oh,
I guess we also share a look, and
Okay, fine.
yes, Sir Blackwild, I pardon the deception. We were uncertain if it was safe or not to reveal ourselves. She looks over to Connor again, but Ed, she actually takes the headdress off.
And I'm gonna like drop the illusion.
Apologies.
And he kind of he takes another sip of tea. His face almost unflinching as he goes. I can only assume that I'm speaking to Prince Connor and Princess Alstramaria.
Pretty
Yes.
sure they took those titles from us,
Perhaps they did.
or gave them up. I don't wanna really look at it.
That too did not reach me here. And he takes another sip of tea. A wonderful day out. Would you not agree, Amara? And as she nods, we're going to end it there for the week.
Does this man like know what the outside world even is?
Fuck.
I mean, you said he was a hermit, Eric, but what the actual fuck? I mean, before you answer, if this was my Eve either,
I know,
just
right?
saying.
This
It's
house is
perfect,
so
but, like,
pretty.